1. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Insurance Bro Show. We have an awesome guest lined up for everybody today. Really excited about this one, so let's go ahead without further ado and dive right in.
The Carrier Experience Podcast is a show for anyone who wants to grow their agency and be a titan of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the Insurance Bro, James Cias.
All right, there it is, the Insurance Bro, but all of you are the Insurance Pros. So let's dive into another episode. Before we do jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you are listening to us on. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. That'll help us show up that much higher on those search results so that more agents can find valuable information from what we're putting out here today. We'll really, really appreciate that. Don't forget also to follow me on all my social media. You can find me everywhere at Insurance Bro Show. And if you want to be a guest, go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest. We'd love to have you on and highlight what you do in the industry because there's just so many of us out here and we can all bring particular value to each other. So let me introduce our guest really quick here. Our guest today is a bright, fresh face in the insurance game, but she's ready to take on the world. Drawing on her experience in the service industry, she's found a new way to be of service and to truly help others by making sure they're covered for non-occupational injuries. With her positivity and eagerness to learn and to provide value to her customers, there is no stopping her on her way to the top. Joining us today from Aflac, welcome to the show, Sydney Bird.
Well, what an introduction. I can't think of one better.
Well, Sydney, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Of course. I'm very
Pleasure
excited
to have you here. Yeah, we're excited too. So tell us a little bit about yourself. First of all, what geared you to join in the insurance industry of all things?
Well, I don't think anyone ever starts off in life saying, I want to do insurance. Like that's my lifelong passion. I actually had just turned 18 in June, so I'm very young. And I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life necessarily. And I was on LinkedIn. I've had a lot of sales experience before, luckily. And then I got a letter from Aflac asking if I'd be interested in working there. And I said, why the heck not? And so here I am.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah. And so this is all very new. Yes. What's it been like for you so far?
It's been very, very interesting. It's been very fun. It's been the most difficult challenge that I've had in a while, especially taking that California insurance exam. That was a tough one.
That was a rough one.
I cannot believe I passed.
Oh, come on.
But it's been fun. It's been very eye-opening, and it's made me feel like I'm growing a lot in a very short amount of time.
What's your favorite part about what you've learned so far?
I think definitely knowing how you can network with people and understanding those different links between everyone and saying, this is how I can help this person, and let's see if they have other people I can help. I think that's been a really interesting thing that I've learned over this time.
Is all about helping people. That's really what this whole insurance game is about to begin with. It's how do you find ways to provide value and provide service to others? So speaking of, Aflac is what you are selling and what you're representing. So how exactly do you feel that Aflac provides that service to others?
Well, so the way Aflac works is we usually do business-to-business sales, but we also help individual people on a direct basis. And what you do is your business takes us in, and once you hit a certain amount of days that you've been working there, you can pay. You send in a claim for if you get hurt or sick or any of the policies you own, and Aflac will give you cash you get a first aid claim, and that way you can pay for your groceries, you can pay your other bills, because health insurance is great. It's fantastic. It helps you pay for your doctor's appointments and your x-rays and your surgeries, but Aflac is more so targeted towards helping your entire lifestyle as a whole, which is why I really like it.
Kind of helps you get back on track.
Exactly, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What are some of the major lessons that you've learned so far? What are the biggest takeaways that you've got from Aflac?
Cold calling is really hard. That's probably been a very big one. Really having an eager sense to learn and take everything in and use it to your advantage has been a very important aspect of this job. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're not ready for a challenge and you're not ready to learn, then you should work on those things before coming into insurance. And it really is about how much effort you put in, especially because you're an agent and you work off of commission. If you want a successful life, you need to work towards it every single day.
So on that note, how many cold calls are you doing right now? What does that look like for you as part of your daily schedule?
So I'm actually a full-time college student, and I do this job as well. And it's been a struggle to balance the two out because I want to be successful in my education and in my career. So I'm not making as many cold calls as I'd like to. I'd make probably 45 to 50 a day. But the key is it's okay. I know a lot of other people who are older than me are doing more, but I think the key that I've been doing is really working my warm list. So I have a lot of contacts, like for example, in Florida. So I got my insurance license in Florida, and I'm connecting between different clients that I have or will potentially have. So then I can build that bridge even more and build that network even more.
How tough was it to get your license out there in Florida?
I think California being the most difficult, Florida is definitely second. That's for sure. They had you. So, when you get your license here, you do a live scan. It's pretty simple in the fact of that whole fingerprinting process. But for Florida, they have you do a hard copy of your fingerprints in the state of Florida, and you have to use a specific company to get your live scan done. What? And it's called Identigo. And the closest Identigo, I'm in San Diego, and the closest one was in Laguna Hills or Irvine, I think. And so it was, about an hour and a half away from my house. And I was in Florida at one time, so I just flew out and I was like, okay, I'll just get my fingerprinting done here. Nope, you need your ORI number, and if you don't have that, they will not take you.
Oh, hell no!
That was very, very frustrating.
Man.
I came out here, got it done. The people, when you actually go in, they're very helpful. I mean, the phone calls were good too. It's just the whole process itself with the Department of Insurance for Florida was very difficult. But I have it now, which is the good news. Yeah.
Done and done. One less thing. Yes. Going back to that cold calling though, 45 to 50 a day. I'm just going to tell you, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Okay.
All right. Congratulations. Cause that's it takes guts to make even one cold call. I'm very much like you, not a big fan of cold calling myself. I avoid it like the plague personally. But it's one of those things that, when you're first starting out, that's what it's all about. I kind of did the same thing when I started. I've been in the insurance game for about 7 years ago, but it wasn't even cold calling. I took over a book of business, and so I was just calling all of the customers that were
so lucky.
Yeah. But still, I was just some new face, some new voice that they were hearing over the phone. And, but even then 40 to 50 a day. And I no way, I did like 10.
That's
so kudos to you.
For busy days when I have classes and other meetings, and I also have another part-time job that I do on the weekends, just until, my book of business is building. Between all of that, it's 40 to 50 on a good day. For sure.
Yeah, no, that's awesome though.
And
oh, go ahead. You were going to say something?
It's hard to be able to connect with those people, especially because of COVID right now. I mean, usually what I would like to be doing is going out, going into businesses, seeing people face to face, and connecting with them. And I think because of all the telemarketing that's been going on and other scams, you know, that have been going on, like, oh, your car's warranty is expiring. It's like, I don't have a car. I can't.
So funny.
It's really hard.
That's so funny. I got a text message from my assistant today. She's like, hey, this company keeps calling saying your car warranty is out. And I'm like, the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, well,
that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
As a joke, I'll like answer the phone and I'll say, I actually don't have a car. I have a bike. What should I do? And they just hang up on me.
Nice.
But then, you know, they don't call. So
now that we are, I mean, you started here in COVID world. So it's not like it's a complete change for you. You didn't have to adapt. You were basically born into this. How has that shaped the way that you are building your business? And I guess what I'm asking is, how do you plan to take that going forward? It's been difficult. You're not doing things exactly the way that you would want to. So what's that going to look like in the next 3 months, you know, as we're rounding the holidays and then going into 2021?
I think it's going to be very, I'd say a bit of a challenge, but in a good way. I think it's really taught people, especially in our industry, to learn how to just get to the point. Because a lot of the time you go in person like, hey, how are you? All this stuff. And you know what, if you only have, 10 seconds on the phone to close that deal, say, okay, this is what I got for you. This is how it's going to help, because it's all in what you say and how you say it. And I think that's really shaping, along with all the programs that we've been using to get our accounts into the computer. So I think technology-wise, we're all trying to learn how to adapt, our home office space, like I have behind me, it's just a curtain, into a functioning work office.
I have a standing desk. I just roll it so that you can't see my bed. That's literally right here.
Yeah, so. My room is just behind this blue curtain. And I would go to the office, and I live at home, and I have a mom and a little brother, and my little brother and I share a room, or not a room, a wall. And so I really have to be like, okay, guys, it's going into work mode. Everyone close your doors. Nate, do school. Mom, do your thing.
Yep. I hear you. That's the way it is. Do you have a mentor? Or are you provided with a mentor to help you along?
I'm your huckleberry.
This is funny. So I have my boss, Sue, who's been honestly one of the most kindest and sweetest and patient individuals I've ever met. And I give her, a run for her money. I ask a lot of questions. And our regional manager, Ken, has been absolutely amazing with making sure both of them together really welcomed me into this. And they've been, it's okay. You have school. You balance your life the way you need to. And we're just here to make sure you grow. And on top of that, my mom has actually been a really big impact on how successful I've been. I grew up around sales. My mom is the senior vice president of sales at Landmark, which is a healthcare company. My uncle is the senior VP at an IT firm. My grandma is the CEO of a genetics company, and she's been consulting all around the world. It wasn't a choice, but it's a good not choice that I had. And so my mom has really been pushing me and be like, okay, what is this policy? How does it help? Like, could it cover my first, like, what is the benefits of it? And so now she'll just walk in my room and be like, okay, accident policy, why is it great? And I'm like, well, if you go to the doctor, you fracture a rib, you have to get a rib brace. Aflac pays for all those things. And then your first month premium is paid. She goes, okay, you'll do better next time. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's role playing, right?
Exactly. And I think, sorry, my computer's about to die, even though I charged it. I know. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, there we go.
Oh, good. Minor distraction.
I said, hold up. Wait a minute.
Thank you.
We got you.
The best. I really do think that my mom, everyone's like, oh, I love my mom. But I mean, from a professional standpoint, she's really gotten me to where I am today.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I mean, you grew up in a family basically of salespeople.
Exactly.
And how did that shape you? I mean, I'm sure that you weren't like in high school, making presentations and trying to sell people, but I mean, you were though making presentations, and I assume that you got a lot of help and from I mean, VPs of these large companies, Landmark, you said, and the genetics company, there has to be, this professionalism that they carry that they've kind of shared with you. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So I think if I've learned anything from my family, it's how to debate and how to win in an argument, which is really good, except when you lose. But so my grandma,
60% of the time, it works every time.
and that's funny because he actually looks like my uncle. So,
oh my God, you're gonna make me spit out my tea.
But it's really funny to grow up and see the dynamic of like how my family argues. And so for the past couple of years, I moved in with my mom full time, and it's made it very interesting when it comes to things we don't necessarily agree about. So I've been fortunate enough. So when she's like, no, Sydney, you can't do that, I'm like, well, let's think about some ways that this could compromise and help both of us. So, she hates it because it works every time.
Oh, man.
So now I'm teaching my brother. He's like, well, I don't want to say it like that, but Nathan will win. And so it's pretty funny.
You're a bad influence.
I know, it's the best.
What are older sisters for, right?
Exactly. If you can't fight with them, you got to fight with them.
There you go.
But so it's really been that idea of learning how to talk to who you're talking to and how to knowing what they're going to want to hear, especially with my grandma. My grandma so she's the CEO of a company called Parallel Profile. And what it does is it tests your genetics and it tells you what medications will work for you, what medications won't work, and what medications could kill you. And so that's just what she started up. Yeah, that's just what she started up within the last couple of years. But I mean, she's done consulting all around the world for big companies. And my uncle, he has done some like inventory logging, and he formed how the inventory systems will work for companies like Starbucks and some other big ones that I can't remember off the top of my head. But I mean,
it's okay. You nailed probably the biggest one.
Yeah, learning how to, Starbucks for sure. But I really think that besides talking about knowing who you're talking to, they've taught me how to carry myself in a confident way. And They've taught myself that regardless of age, it's about what you know and how you're going to use what you know.
Very cool. Yeah. Smart stuff. Yeah, it sounds like you had a really good influence growing up. So kind of following along on your sales cycle here, you make all of your cold calls. What is your follow-up procedure like? What does your routine look like after you make the calls, after you make the connections?
So usually if it's not a warm lead and I'm doing cold calls, I'll call them and they either say, I'm not interested. As it's funny because as soon as I say Aflac, I'm like, hi, I'm with Aflac. They're like, oh, I'm not interested. And then I say, oh, what are you not interested in? And they don't know. And
the duck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like your insurance, and then I explain it. But so what I usually do is I'll follow up with another phone call a couple days later just to see where their head's at. If they say, I'm too busy right now, I can't talk, call me again, I'll call them. Or I'll say, okay, is there a good email I can reach you at as well? And then I have a really good email with a main idea that was given to me by Aflac that really feels personal and feels like there's a connection there while getting the point across. And it's something along the lines of, this subject is just, free telemedicine for your employees at no cost to you. And then it goes, and then it's just, hi, my name's Sydney. I'm with Aflac and I'm, like a benefits advisor for small businesses or something along those lines. And then you just go further into saying, I'd love to just get 10 to 15 minutes on your calendar in order to talk to you about some of the ways Aflac can really help your employees, because especially during right now, times are crazy and you never know what's going to happen next, thanks to 2020.
Yeah. Jumanji 2020.
Exactly. But what I like to end with is, because I think it really helps build that connection, is I know that time is money, so I don't want to waste it. And then I'll say, hope to hear from you soon. Sincerely, Sydney. And it's been interesting learning about the ways of elevation is what, I think most of us call it, in order to, it's been interesting to learn the differences between the virtual elevation and what used to be done. Because usually people would go in, they'd leave a physical note with, like a flip flop. Like, I got one foot in the door, how about the other? Just like funny puns like that. And now it's really trying to show them that A, you're a real human being and not a scam call. And B, that this is something that's really going to help them.
Yeah, and it's just that much tougher when you cannot go into their building and get face to face. So it's just awesome that you came up with a family that already had that background. They kind of already instilled that in you. You aligned yourself with a company that provides you with mentors, that continues to push your professional development. For your personal development for yourself, what books have you read that have helped you in generating sales, in what you need to know about business, anything like that?
Let me see. I have it. I can't remember the title. It was an ebook that I got. Let me see. Trying to find it. Oh my gosh! Of course, now the Wi-Fi is funny. So one of the big things that my uncle wanted me to read is called, where is it? It's called The Psychology of Selling and Persuasion. Nice. And it really talks about, what goes into saying, like even just the different words that you should be using in order to make sure that you can get this sale across, which I really enjoyed. And I highly recommend reading it, especially if you're not necessarily a people person. Which is, you already had a setback if you're not a people person and do insurance. But
right.
The Psychology of Selling is a really good book. And then I have like a little list here that I did. And then just like a basic, like if you're struggling with sales, it's by Zig Ziglar, and it's Selling 101, What Every Successful Sales Professional Needs to Know. Recommend it.
Gotta love Zig Ziglar.
Exactly. Relatively short. Can't really say Zig Ziglar 5 times fast, but but I highly recommend it. Both of those are very good books that I really enjoyed.
Nice. I was asking, one of the recent ones that I've read is called Never Lose a Customer Again. And I'll recommend that one to you. Okay. The author's name was Joey Coleman. Right? Okay, I think so. Never lose a customer again. And this just talks about your whole selling process and the way that there's like 8 steps that he talks about. And the whole goal of your sales process is to get to a point where your customers wind up being raving fans, right? They just become your biggest fans. And the whole process that you use just turns into just wowing the customer, just flooring them. So if you can figure out the way to do that with what you've already got going, with your mentors to help you, then that just my own little personal recommendation for a book there. Yeah.
I think the 2 hardest parts are if you getting a customer and then making sure they stay. So that's
100%. 100%. Do you have like a nightly routine or a daily morning routine, anything like that kind of helps you get your day started?
So with COVID, it's been hard because, most people work from home right now.
Yep.
And so if I know I need to work, I'll put on my work clothes, regardless of, if I have a meeting or something, because being in those clothes reminds me, okay, work time, let's do it. And I'll actually physically divide up my desk or areas of my room. So, college work that needs to get done will go in the corner or on the bed. And then work that needs to get done today, like calls that need to get done today, are going to go to the left of my desk.
Nice.
Lunch is going to go over here whenever I have time to eat. And then making sure that I'm all up to date with the schedule. And so what I do every Monday is I have a little planner and I plan out my week and I say, okay, what days could I offer to clients for a virtual meeting? And then what days can I not? What days can I do like my monthly income planning session? What days can I, read a new book? And then what days can I discover some new clients and elevate some clients?
So you have your kind of time blocks and your days blocked out for different things that you've got going on. It kind of helps to eliminate some of the clutter in your life that way.
It really does. If you can't mentally compartmentalize, you should do physical compartmentalization.
Compartmentalize. There you go. I got you.
I know it was How
It's
much
all
a
good.
day?
I always have that one. I teach the insurance class.
Mhm.
So you know what? That just begs the question: where'd you go to school to get licensed? Where'd you go to the
I went
licensing class?
to Exam FX, which was really
Okay.
good. It's the company that my job offered, and they
Oh,
helped
okay.
me, and it's fantastic. They have like study cards for you. They have like quizzes you can take over and over again. You can
Nice.
highlight and print out the worksheets. I highly recommend it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I've been teaching at Mike Russ schools. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're pretty big here in San Diego.
Okay.
And when I'm teaching there, I always get to this point about talking about asbestos and then that word
Oh yes.
mesothelioma.
Oh yeah,
Mesothelioma. If I say it nice
mesothelioma.
and slow, yeah, if I
Yes,
say it
you got it.
slow, I'm good.
Yeah,
So
mesothelioma. Okay, I can't say you can't say that one.
yeah, it's one of those things.
It is.
So one of the last questions here. First of all, what is your secret sauce? Like, what's the thing that sets Sydney apart from everybody else?
That's a good question. I think it is the fact that I'm so young in the industry, and I think it's my age and my upbringing with my family have been the two most unique things about me that I bring to Aflac.
I gave it a 10. A 10.
Just loving the movie clips, right?
Those are fantastic. I love it. I need all of them now.
Right. So with your age comes it's hunger, right? Like you are showing that you are motivated, you're driven, you're excited about the things that you're doing. I mean, there's not a lot of 18-year-olds out there that are getting their insurance license. I think in the 7 years that I've been doing this, I've met like 2.
Yeah.
So it's definitely saying something when you're going this direction. What are your plans for the next 3 years? Where do you see yourself in your career with insurance?
So with insurance, I plan on being able to move out. I originally, without this job, my plan was to go to college because I have a scholarship for a community college because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And now I've decided to major in business management, the more, the people side of things. And I would like to, in the next 3 years, have my own little place, maybe be in college if, depending on my success at Aflac. And I feel like I should at least have an associate's degree. That's kind of my thinking of it. Hopefully still be in San Diego because I love it so freaking much. And I love being
pretty
able
great.
to surf every day and go out and see the beach no matter how ungodly hot it is.
The hotter the better, right?
It is when you're out in the water, not when
Yeah.
you're in Poway where I am. But
Yeah. No.
but yeah, that's my plan.
There you go. It works.
Yeah.
Last question is, how can I support you? What can I do to support you in achieving your 3-year goals?
Well, talking me up, give me some referrals. No, I'm just kidding. But I think already this podcast, I didn't even really know that this kind of thing was going on until you messaged me on LinkedIn. So I really think that getting people as young as I am and targeting them and saying, hey, you should do this. Like, you should, connect with this person. And like, here's some ideas that you could have, watch my show and connect with younger people on LinkedIn. I think will really give the confidence to other people, especially my age, who are like, wow, I need to step up my game. How can I be the most successful version of myself in 20 years from now and get that thinking locked on ahead of time?
And I've been saying it, Miguel. Huh? I've been saying it.
You just keep throwing them in. Keep throwing them in. I love it. I love it. Well, Sydney, it has really been a lot of fun getting to know you. Absolutely. This podcast will be available to you, so feel free to share it on your platform with all of your friends and all of your network, and we'll be doing the same thing. Make sure that we're out there spreading the good word, spreading the word about Sydney, because it's just been fun getting to know you, and I'm really excited for where you're going. Like I said, not a lot of 18-year-olds out there getting into the insurance game. It's good to get into it early and learn as much about it. You have a very open mind, eager to learn, and it's just going to be exciting to see you grow.
Thank you, James. I really appreciate that.
Before we jump off, one thing that I want to make sure that the audience gets is, how do they get in touch with you? How do they get a hold of you if they want to work with you, if they're interested in working with Aflac, or not working with Aflac, but getting Aflac?
So my work email is sydney.bird. That's my last name. I'm sorry, Sydney _bird. That's the one. At Aflac. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm having a brain malfunction. Good Lord. Sydney _bird at us.aflac.com. That's the best way to reach me. I can also supply my personal phone number if you reach out to me. As much as I'd love to give all the viewers my phone number, unfortunately, that cannot happen today. My LinkedIn is also a fantastic way to reach me as well.
All right. And those links are at the bottom there for our viewing audience. For our listening audience, just LinkedIn, Sydney Bird. All right. Well, that does it for us today. Thank you again, Sydney, so much for hanging out with us today. Really appreciate you. And for everybody else who's listening, thank you all so much. Appreciate every single one of our listeners. You all have my heart. You rock my socks. And as always... Oh, now he's slow on?
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Thank you for tuning in to the Carrier Experience Podcast. James is a CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you are an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelineinsurance.com. You can find James on all social media at Insurance Broham.